Welcome to this summary video where I'm going to be talking about this method using bolt.new to generate websites which rank on Google. Now, I've made this document here, which is a step-by-step guide to building an SEO monster with bolt.new, which will probably be the title of this video. Now, the first thing is, there are two different versions of this. There is the three-part series that we have released so far, which are these three videos here inside the document, where we build something based on an API response. Okay, so for example, we do a Google search for, plumbers in Dublin. Programmatically, we do the search, obviously. We get these responses here and we display them on a page. Okay, so an example of that is find a tradesperson in Ireland.com. So you can see here, that's all I'm doing. I'm just displaying the results from Google directly onto a page. Okay, so this is one example. This is find a tradesperson in Ireland. Another example is get married in Italy. Same concept. If I go to regions and let's say I want to get married in Amalfi, and I need to know if there are any good florists in Amalfi. Same concept. I'm just displaying the results from an API on a page. Another example is bestboardgames4.com. This is just, it's a much simpler website, but this is just using the Walmart API. The idea here would be to eventually add a button here that instead of view details, it says buy on Walmart. You click that and you get an affiliate commission every single time someone buys from this website, okay? So this is what I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. I've now created 4 of these websites using this programmatic SEO method. So this is the first iteration, the building an API response website using data for SEO or whatever it might be. Okay, these are very, very simple to make. I would say these 3 videos here, and also we'll have a 4th video, which is those 3 videos edited together so that people can decide how they want to watch it. So basically, in this document here, I'm going to go into a bit more detail, but I just want to say there is going to be, there isn't yet, but there's going to be a second part of this 3-part series, which is using AI. So instead of just having a response from an API, baked into each page, instead, what it's going to do is I'm going to go to the meaningofbabynames.com. This was one that I made last night. And there will be another version of this website coming, which I've built in front of people. So let's just go to, for example, by length. And let's say we want a 2-letter name. It doesn't make sense if it's a 2-letter name, to be honest with you. 4-letter name. So let's say we want to know what this name means. We press learn more. This is AI generated content. So it's taking the same concept of JSON responses. So all JSON responses mean, by the way, guys, it's not as complicated as it seems. It just means the AI, or not even the AI, just the Bolt, for example, or just the programmatic website that you've created, it will expect coordinates, weather, base, and main responses from the API. So if you send a question to ChatGPT, and specifically ChatGPT, not Claude, you can ask it to respond in a JSON object to your choosing. For example, all I did here was I said, what is the meaning of the name X, right? So in this case, Adi. I said, respond in a JSON object with the meaning, the origin, and some interesting facts about the name, okay? And then all I did was feed a CSV of 88,000 names to this basics, the script that then just ran a GPT call against the CSV and then created this page that you can see here. So this is all programmatic SEO. It's actually fairly simple. There are a load of prompts in this document. It's not simple. I shouldn't have said that. It's not very simple at all. It's horrible, but it's worth learning. Everything that you will need will be in this document right here. Please share this document with your friends, share it around, etc., etc. So I'm in a pretty good position to talk about how this process actually works. Firstly, these websites have 2 different types, or 3 different types now. There's static and dynamic. Okay, Get Married in Italy and Best Board Games for are statically generated websites. This is the simplest way to do it. If you have no idea what you're doing, just tell Bolt that you want a Next.js statically generated website that is created at build time and then that you can upload as static HTML to Vercel or whatever, okay? They're both statically generated. This means that when you build the application using npm run build, that's when the pages are actually built. This is much easier to conceptualize for people, including myself, as we all know and love this traditional method of ranking on Google where we just have, 10 pages that don't change, they're not dynamic, they're static, and they rank on Google, okay? This means that you're effectively creating pages based on responses from an API, like I said before. For example, getmarriedinitaly.co, all we did was create SEO meta tags and meta descriptions that are easily repeatable over many pages. So if I just show you, what that means is X in Y, florists in Amalfi, okay? And then you just give the AI the X and the Y. It's that simple, okay? It's not really that simple, but... So think get married in Y region of Italy. So if I go to Italian regions, Amalfi Coast, get married in Y, Italy, okay? The Y being a variable that you can change according to the inputs. Region of Italy. We then fill this content with local businesses taken from the data for SEO API. There's nothing particularly special about these websites. They're static websites that will never change unless I run the build process again. This website is built, it's done, it's finished. The only time this will ever change is if I run npm build again and then re-upload the new website, okay? But that would be pointless because there's not going to be a new, florist in Amalfi Coast in the next 3 years, let's say. So there's no real point running this again, to be honest with you. You can, but yeah, there's no point. However, Find a Tradesperson, which was the first website I built, is actually completely different. The reason being that it's static, but it's also dynamic, okay? So Find a Tradesperson is different. It is all dynamically generated. This means that when the website is thrown onto Google, the pages don't really exist. What do I mean by that? So for example, this page here, plumbers in Dublin, is something that somebody has already searched for. So this page is already loaded, it already exists, and that's why you can see it right here, okay? I hope that makes sense. So that's the difference between dynamically generated and statically generated. These pages are only created or fully populated when someone clicks on it. But, and this is the really interesting part of this, Google can already render this page despite the fact that it doesn't exist yet. Because what it does is Google loads and populates the page normally for you. So it ranks the page based on what content will be there when somebody clicks it, not based on what content is not there because it hasn't been populated yet. Now that might seem a little bit complicated, but just honestly for me, just stick to static websites. They're a lot easier to build. When someone has clicked it, that's when it exists or is populated, and it becomes a cached version of that page, but it can be updated. For example, if a new business comes along and starts a roofing company in Ferns, Wexford, this page will eventually update automatically and add this new business to the page without me rebuilding the entire website. These websites are much harder. However, they are actually easy. These websites are much harder to conceptualize, but they're actually easier to build. The reason they're easier to build is because of this right here. You don't have to go through this awful process of generating 165,000 pages at build time, okay? When you have to build 1,000 pages statically, you have an issue at build time. You need to build it in under 1 hour because Vercel and also Netlify will time out if you build a page for too long. So what's the point of all this, you might ask? Well, the point of all this is this right here. findatradespersonisland.com. 87 keywords already for a website that was launched less than a week ago. That is pretty damn impressive. Hairdressers in Portlaoise, Newbridge Upholstery. These are all really interesting keywords that we could monetize very, very easily. Also, to have 1,800 or 1,900 pages already indexed on Google in less than a week, that's got to be a record for me personally, okay? So keep scrolling down, guys. There is an example. This is an example of a page that I didn't even know it would get indexed, okay? But it did get indexed because I didn't realize this whole thing about server-side rendering. I didn't realize that a page that doesn't have anything on it can still be populated and ranked as if it had something on it by Google. Okay, that's the best way I can explain it to you. So here's the step-by-step process that I've created to making one of these websites. Think of an idea, buy a domain. You want to do this first because you want a brand name to put into the various AI tools we're going to use. Optional, make a Facebook page, Instagram page. If you're really serious about the business, please do this part. Make a logo, a favicon, etc. Give everything to V0 and ask it to make a clean, modern, modular homepage, footer, and header on every single page using Next.js, Shad, CN, and Tailwind. Give the code you get from V0 once you're happy with it to bolt.new and say, implement this design exactly as it is now, but make me a group of reusable components which can style my entire website. Set up the project as a Next.js project with a Shad, CN, and Tailwind. You do actually have to tell it that. Think about, or use AI to think about, the different categories you're going to use to create scale. This has to be a list of something you can store in JSON. For example, regions of islands with the towns inside the object, the JSON object, that gives 3 potential pages. So we have the trade, the region, and the town inside the region. So we have X trade in Y region, X trade itself, and X trade in Y region in Z town. Okay, that's 3 different pages just by thinking about the different categories that we can add to this project. Change the prompt below. So this is the entire prompt I used to build this app to fit with your project. The key parts are give it an example JSON response. Okay, so it needs to know what the response from OpenAI, for example, or Data for SEO is going to look like in order to then populate the pages based on that response. Okay. Also give it documentation. So give it documentation from any relevant APIs. Telling it to create pages that are both static and dynamically generated, pages using SSR or static generation, depending on what you want to do. Using caching and fallbacks, dynamic routing, complete meta tag optimization, including semantic HTML structure, schema markup and relevant to your content type, generate static pages with tags. You can actually just put this into ChatGPT or whatever and ask it to make this prompt fit your project. Okay, you don't actually have to understand what these words mean. There are 2 different things here. npm run dev. This starts your application as a web app without actually building it. This is very easy to do. This is not the hard part of this whatsoever. The actual hard part of this is npm run build, which creates the application properly, which you can then launch on a server. Okay, you can run npm dev until everything works, until everything looks good, and then you fix the TypeScript errors using Bolt, and then you run npm build, and that is when you can launch the project on Vercel, Netlify, or DigitalOcean, which is what I've been using for bigger projects. So yeah, that's pretty much a breakdown of everything. There are 3 videos here. There are going to be another 3 videos here, which we'll have very, very soon, which are very similar to this process, but we're using AI to enrich the content and make it even better. I'm going to leave the video there, guys. I'm really, really impressed with 83 keywords in such a short amount of time. I hope this was useful, guys. You can find this document in the description of this video. There's the prompt here for building the app, and then I will add the prompt to build AI app here once we release the videos. Guys, share this document with your friends. Share it around. This knowledge is worth literally millions. Thanks for watching. If you're watching all the way to the end, you're an absolute legend. And I'll see you very, very soon with some more content. Peace out. Watch this video for the final part of how to plan, make, and launch a website using AI.